What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I have to be 100% honest with you guys that um, talking to some of my fellow YouTubers out there today. Um, my buddy Game Time Brian wanted me to join yesterday for his live stream. Had Philly 500 on and things, and we've had some things that we're dealing with. I'm, as my wife put it, we're at that age, and by that age, it means that people around you start going. People you grew up with, or people that raised you, and things like that. So we have those kind of things to take care of. And I'll be real, a lot of things changed for me when my dad passed, because my dad was the person that I always looked up to and always had a lot of conversations with, especially about football and things. And when the Cowboys would have problems, we would always talk. When the Cowboys would win, we would talk. Cowboys would lose, we would talk. When before the games, who my dad should bet with, or did they have a chance, and things, we would talk. And I miss every time there's some news of the Cowboys, and as crazy as it's been, I've been missing that talking. And it's changed how doing this, I've lost a lot of that joy, because every time Jerry does something stupid, not only am I thinking about the stupid thing that he's doing, I'm thinking about how I used to share that with my dad. And that's something I gotta learn that I can't anymore. YouTube is changing and evolving. And, just like Cam Newton said about Acho and Joy Taylor and Jim Jones and Shady McCoy, he's like, hey, here it is. Now you can do your own thing. It's social media. Because now, I think about when Dak Prescott was a rookie, and I was doing YouTube, and I had 1,000 subscribers. The Dallas Cowboys didn't even have a YouTube channel. There was Law Nation, Nothing But the Best, and Vosh Lombardi. There was Shango, and a bunch of other ones, My Cowboys Family, and I think Simus might have been there, and some other ones. But it was kind of like a close-knit family. We were all diehard Cowboy fans that loved the Cowboys first. And now it's like the Wild West, or the Great Gold Rush, because everybody's coming here. All of the television platforms that are failing are now trying to resurrect themselves with YouTube. The writers from the newspapers and the magazines and all of those are coming in here. So now it's a dog-eat-dog world. And because it is getting to be so many people that it's changing and evolving, it's harder to get traction. And it's almost like a dog-eat-dog world. And that's where it gets to be sad, because that tight-knit group that used to be there, the core's there. But then you get some of these other ones now that come in and they feel like, they're just going to disrespect the ones that have been there doing it all that time, or, they're going to be, just shitting on others. And instead of this being a group of people that are working together because we all have the same like of the Dallas Cowboys or whatever your like is, it's now become war where we got to fight. And I hate that ugliness. I hate that ugliness. Because what I know is this. You only get out of anything what you put into it. And it doesn't matter what it is, a relationship, being a parent, or being a YouTuber. If you're not willing to put in more work than the next person, then don't expect to succeed. That's the only thing that will get you there. And when you get there, that's when you really got to start to work to try and stay there. I've done this for 10 years. I can't believe I can say that. 10 years. And I've seen a lot of people come and try it and not put in the work. I've seen a lot of ones that have come in and they've been a flash in the pan and rise real quick and then fall flat on their face just as fast. Because when you think you've arrived on here, YouTube has a way of bitch slapping you and knocking your ass back down. So, that's where I am. And it's been hard for me sometimes getting the content out because of missing my father. And this season, it's going to be hard for me. It's going to be hard for me when the Cowboys have a big win that they weren't supposed to have and not to be able to share that with my dad. Or hear my dad talk about, oh, I can't wait. Oh, yeah, you said when the Cowboys win against Washington, I don't hear from Greg. That's going to be difficult. Maybe good news, Sean Sharif reporting that Micah and Jerry met together last night for not one, not two, not three, but for 4 hours. And maybe, just maybe, some talks are starting. And see, this is where all this that I'm talking about right now is, we are Cowboy fans fighting against Cowboy fans. Cowboy on Cowboy crime because of Jerry Jones' stupidness. When you put together all of the pieces, the thing I can say Micah Parsons did better than anybody else is to pull the layers of the onion off of Jerry Jones. Because the Cowboys have been really, really good, Jerry and Steven, for making others the responsibility for the failures. We're going to go as far as Dak takes us. Instead of saying, yeah, well, if we don't win the Super Bowl, Dak wasn't good enough to do it. Yeah. But we're not looking at the fact that we're not giving Dak all the tools that he needs. Now, I know there's perspective and then there's reality. You know, people say, oh, you've had great teams. And I will say, for what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have done to try and build the team, I will say we overperformed with it. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, who have spent the least in free agents, not less, the rock bottom least over the course of the last 9 years in free agency. 32nd. That is saying we are not going to use one of the tools that are available to try and win. We just won't do it. We've heard Stephen Jones. You know, when you have to go into free agency, you have to pay good money for an average player. Well, you know, that just says you messed up in the draft. Yeah. So you mess up in the draft and you're not going to do anything about it. That's like me trying to build a house and say, well, I forgot my tape measure, and I'm not going to go over to Ace Hardware over here and buy me another one, because that's just wasting my money, when I got a good one right there at home, but it's 2 hours away. So I'm going to try and build a house without a tape measure. Is that what we're going to do? Yeah. But that's what we do. Think about this. In the time Dak Prescott has been here, the Cowboys have gotten Amari Cooper for 3 years, which was a good move. And just when we were really working well with him, we got rid of him, and we didn't replace him until George Pickens right now. Name me another prime free agent that the Cowboys have done during Dak Prescott. I'll wait. Don't get me wrong. We've had some ones that were journeymen that worked out well for us. But the other major moves would be the trade for Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. And that's in 10 years, people. And that's with 4 years of Dak Prescott only making $4 million. So yes, Micah Parsons has actually thrown it back on Jerry Jones, where Jerry Jones looks like the reason that we have all the problems that we do. I hope they get this thing done sooner than later, because I need some things to go right with this season. Tomorrow's already Friday. And tonight, 4 weeks from right now, we'll be in the fourth quarter of the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And I'll be real with you. I don't know which way this season's going to go. When I sat down here, what I was really going to talk about was has what we've seen on the field in practice with the Rams, is that time to hit the panic button? Or because the Cowboys are constantly on television, all the practices are open, that Brian Schottenheimer is keeping everything tight to the vest and just doing everything vanilla. So that way, when we do get to the season, people don't know what we're going to do. I'm hoping it's the latter. And maybe that's what I'll talk about in the morning. In the meantime, I'm tired, as you can see. And go take me a nice shower. I got my building. Let me say, everybody who has been watching Joe Boo's Day Job, I've been posting a video a day on there. Thank you all for watching. It seems like I've been doing a whole bunch of different things. I've been trying to get everything done before the football season starts, because I want to be able to just say, I'm going to concentrate solely on the Dallas Cowboys, win, lose, or draw. And so I've got a lot of stuff that I've been doing, but I've only had a couple hours a day that I can work on the storage building in. For all intents and purposes, it's done now. Other than I'm going to run electricity out there, but I've got all the trim on there. I do have the soffits to finish up underneath and I am going to make a cupola to go on top of it, but and I am going to put some racks and shelves and stuff in there and things, so that way it'll be easier to be a really good garden shed. But thank you all for watching that channel and things. Something big is happening here with the red brick house. is it's taken us a while to get all the research done and get the paperwork done for the application here for the Red Brick House. There's so much history that this place has. We've gotten the application in for getting the house registered in the National Historic Registry. That's the first thing you have to do. We've got a site visit set up for next week. So the Department of Historic Resources will be coming here to take pictures and get ready to do their PowerPoint for the presentation to the board on there. And that presentation will be in September at some point. So hopefully we'll find out in the next 2 months if this is going to be deemed historic. And I'm just kind of going on a bit. I have found, well, this is the Red Brick House. The person who built this, William Brown, is buried in Stanton National Cemetery. There's a president that's buried there too. He was a War of 1812 veteran, and he loved bricks. His headstone is made of bricks with a piece of granite on top of it. Now, this house was built in 1820 by him. In the 1830s, right by the cemetery there, on the edge of the cemetery, they rebuilt the church. The wooden church was in the middle of the cemetery, but they built the church outside of the cemetery. And in clearing out brush and stuff over there, I believe I have actually found the foundation for the church, including the steps that carried into the church. And so now it's something else that we have to talk about with the historic department. But this church, it's an interesting story to me because the church was there from 1836, I think, until like 1880. In 1880, they basically took all the bricks apart and they transported them to another location and built a new church. But as you go over here in that section, you can see where the land is flattened out and there's a wall, and I think that's the wall, and the steps that's on the hill for where the church was. And it's just exciting to me. So I've been working on things like that as opposed to feeling depressed about the crap that you get from Jerry Jones. You know what I mean? So that's all I have to say about that. But having now recently lost another close person to my wife and her family, it's another reminder of how precious life is and how short our time here is. And so it's where I always tell everybody to remember to let the people you love know how you feel about it. Because time is short and you don't want to waste any of it. I love you guys. And God willing, this old ass will be able to get up in the morning and keep hitting it. Peace out.